So welcome everybody. I think we have such an interesting lineup today that I really don't want us to lose out on a single minute of it. So I'll just go ahead and get started. I want to welcome you all to the very first Communications Coffee Talks, which is brought to you by the Global Engagement and Communications Office. Many of you might be wondering what is this coffee talks or what's the purpose behind it. So I want to quickly give you some context. Now, many of you might know that some of us communicators were able to meet at Cape Town last month for a communications workshop. And Anne will tell you more about the workshop soon. I think everybody will have to wear, yeah. So at the workshop, there was really a strong felt need to create a virtual space where, all of us communicators could regularly meet, learn about each other's work, acquire new skills, exchange ideas, listen and learn from experts as well as our own colleagues, and get to share best practices that we see globally and also in our own countries. We know that many countries have just one communicator, and so it can be a lonely space with, no one from their professional background being there to discuss ideas or ask for help when they navigate through tough situations or challenges. So we also conducted a post-retreat survey in Cape Town, and we got to know what our colleagues would like to learn more about. And we heard back that they're very interested in learning the use of design softwares like Adobe Express, building audio visuals using Animoto, how to improve their storytelling, photography, build communications plans, work better with media, develop impactful social media messaging, and so on. And at the same time, country communicators also want to be heard. They want to share their experiences and be able to contribute more meaningfully to our collective efforts around communication. So we came out with the idea of this Global Communications Coffee Talk, which is intended to be a productive, engaging, fertile, and safe space where we can meet every second Wednesday of the month. And this is really your space. And we invite everyone to participate in upcoming sessions that we can jointly plan. So please reach out to my colleague and co-host for Coffee Talks, Leanne Gray, and me for any suggestions that you might have for upcoming sessions and how you'd like to participate. And with that, let's kick off our very first Coffee Talks today. Yay! We are very excited we have a great agenda for you. So let me pass it on to our Senior Director for Communications, a leader you all know, Anne Lolordo, who can tell us a bit about the Cape Town retreat. Anne, over to you.
Thank you so much, Indrani. Look at all these faces. My goodness, I see everybody from Afghanistan. Is Francis on here? Is Zambia here? I mean, we are truly a global family. I mean, I feel very warm and everybody, I see your smiling faces, and it's not like we just met for one time in South Africa. So I want to welcome everybody, and to our colleagues who couldn't make it for crazy visa reasons, welcome, welcome, welcome. And this is your space as much as anyone else's. And I wanted to let you know that we've got all of the presentations that we did in South Africa on the One Japaigo site. I can share my screen, but I think you all know how to get to One Japaigo. You just have to get to the staff resources where it's communications, and you will see more presentations there than you will maybe have time for. But I would suggest to you that if you even try to dip in, once a week as your own professional development, I think it would benefit you all, just even as a reminder, just to get your brain cooking for different ways to do things. If every single day you feel sometimes like, oh, I've done this 1,000 times. The different presentations that we had in South Africa, I think will give you a sense of the future, of what you can bring to your professional development, and through that contribute to Japaigo's communications. A few that I really would suggest, if you, especially for our colleagues who weren't with us in South Africa, Melody's opening presentation was fantastic. It was really directed at all of you. It was less of a, can I say this politely, a standard kind of corporate presentation. She really focused on each and every one of you and what your journey is going to be like in communication. So I really would suggest that. Also, I think we had a photographer from South Africa who has photographed for us and the team in South Africa, No Laura. She did a wonderful presentation as well and gave you easy ways to capture the right kinds of photographs in the right settings, and also had offered a very interesting commentary on consent and how much we have to be really more, what's the word I want? Really more directed and focused on the person we're taking that photograph of and what they need to know to be fully informed. We don't want someone just to give us the thumbs up necessarily and kind of sign off. We really want the people that we're photographing, many of whom we're serving, to feel ownership as well of this photograph and feel in control of what, of their image in a sense. So I really would encourage you to listen to that presentation as well. And today you're going to have a really good hands-on session. That's one thing we learned from South Africa. People don't want to be talked to all the time. They want to be engaged. They want to participate. They want to do their own thing. And Cole's going to walk you through the Adobe Express, which I think it'll open a huge window for you. I really appreciate all the people that are on the call here today. It's really inspiring to me. You know, I know all of us gathered in South Africa, and for me, after being in lockdown for 2 years, I felt exhilarated again. I felt that I was really part of a community beyond a community of 1 or 2 or 5. And I hope through the coffee talks, even if they are virtual, we can engage in that way. So let me just say, I'm going to turn it over to my trusty colleagues. They will take you further down the road. I want you to know that we're not just talking the talk when we say this is your space. You can make this what you want it to be. If you need help with something, if you've got a challenge, if you come across something new yourself, like I'm still trying to figure out how Fernando, fairly new to Japaigo, and his colleagues were able to get that beautiful story out of Guatemala on the USAID Adobe Express page. And I will tell you, my colleague Indrani spotted that story and said, Ann, I think we should do this story. And Ann said, it's a good story, but I don't know about the photographs. I don't know if we have enough photographs. Well, USAID proved me wrong. Those photographs were wonderful. They were engaging. Even if there were just a few of them, you got very clearly the story of this pregnant mom living in a rural place and how they managed to get her to the health center to deliver safely. So again, I'm going to turn it over to Indrani and Leanne and Cole. I want to thank you for being part of our wonderful team, and stay tuned, stay engaged, and enjoy the morning. Thank you, Indrani.
Thanks so much, Anne. And with that, without further ado, let me hand it over to our colleague Cole Bingham, who's the Senior Communications Manager at Gecko, who will take us through a training session on Adobe Express. It was the most sought after training session that got the highest votes in the survey. So Cole, everybody's waiting for this. Over to you.
Thanks, Indrani. We have a lot of designers in the house, I guess. 44 folks here, and probably every one of these 44 is a designer. So I think Adobe Express hopefully will be really good. So before I share my screen and dive right into Adobe Express, for people who can turn on their video, turn on your video real quick and just give a great big wave so that I can screenshot this and just everybody can be on there. Big waves, big waves. Turn on your video, turn on your video. My screen is still filling with video. I love this. I love it, I love it, I love it. All right, keep waving, keep waving, keep waving. All right, I think, hi everybody, we're still adding people. Oh, that's so fun. Okay, you can turn back off your video if you want, totally up to you. Good to see everybody. Thanks for humoring me on that. Just wanted to make sure we got a screenshot to record the moment. So I am going to share my screen, and I do not have a presentation. I have a window into Adobe Express open. What I would encourage you is, if you are already in Adobe Express and you feel comfortable, feel free to follow along on your own screen. But I would say watch my screen, see what I'm doing. This is being recorded. I said in the chat, we will send this recording right out on the Teams site after this. So you can follow along multiple times, but watch what I'm doing and then try it on your own in your Adobe Express account. And I will share our Adobe Express account password so that you can try it in there. If you have questions as I go along, I won't be able to see the chat because I will be looking at my Adobe Express screen, but Leanne and Juliana will be looking in the chat and will be able to answer your questions, or feel free to just shout and say, hey, Cole, stop, I have a question. And that's great, I love that. So let me share my screen, and I'll need somebody to tell me whether you can see it or not. But here we go, we're gonna dive right in. All right. Can everybody see my screen right now?
Yes.
Anybody?
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Good to hear you. Okay, this is Adobe Express. For those of you who don't know what Adobe Express is, Adobe in general puts out programs like Photoshop for photos, InDesign and Illustrator for various graphic design projects. I use Premiere a lot for video. They have a suite of about 40 programs, and Adobe Express started as their mobile phone program. It started just on a phone, and then it became a web-based program. So this isn't a program that you download to your computer. This is a program where you just go into Chrome or Safari or Internet Explorer, whatever internet browser you use, you type in express.adobe.com, which should load you onto a login page. And I will share Gecko's login information with you at the end of this. And then it will put you onto a home page where it will give you lots of different options. And I have my handy little notes sheet here. I asked in our global communications teams group, what would be good to learn more about? And the two big things that I heard were making graphics, so social media graphics, infographics, photo tiles, graphics that go along with stories, banners, maybe PowerPoint slides. All of these sort of fall under the heading of graphics. So we'll start there. I also heard stories, web pages, newsletters, things like that. And so we'll go into their web page function right after that. And those are the two that I'm going to try to dive deeply into. We have other things that I'll show you a little bit. There are lots of quick actions down here. If you can see all of these quick actions, there are lots of video-based actions. You can convert videos to GIFs, you can crop, you can change speed, lots of different things. But we'll start with graphics and we'll see how far we get. So this is your home page, and you have lots of different options, but the easiest and the quickest way to start is by clicking this big plus button up here, and it gives you lots of different options. You can create a custom size graphic, which is often what I do if I know exactly what size I want. And that's the one I'm going to click on in a second. But if you know you want an Instagram story, or you know you want a Facebook post, you can sort of choose all these different options. If you click on view all, it will give you lots of different templated sizes. But I'll click on custom size graphic, and it will tell me, oh, you can make, you know, any sort of pixel or inches or millimeters sized graphic that you want. So for example, a PowerPoint slide is 1920 by 1080 pixels. So I could make that, or I could dive right into here and say, oh, I want, you know, a YouTube thumbnail or a landscape, or I want a social post. And so I want, maybe I want a Snapchat story, or in print, I want A4, or a social profile, I want a Twitter header. For our countries that have Twitter header banners now, it tells you exactly what size you might want for that. So there are lots of different options that you can go for, but I'm just going to choose this. The one thing I will say when you choose something is sometimes you might choose, let's say you choose print, and it gives you A4. I'm not sure whether 210 by 297 millimeters is going to be actually A4 sized. You might need to scale up when you choose something. So I know in my mind that a PowerPoint slide is exactly this, but if I'm going to print my PowerPoint slides, I should probably double or triple the size of this, and you can do that. So you just need to do the math in your head for the correct ratio of pixel size. But let's start with this, and you click next, and it'll give you a blank page. Is everybody tracking with me right now? Can you hear me and see me as I do these things? Good, awesome. I see Linjin giving me the thumbs up. That's perfect. You can now choose from different templates if you want to do a template, and you can see over here, I could search for a PowerPoint template. I don't know what will come up if I search for a PowerPoint template, but these things come up. So I could decide to just start from this. Here is a numerical factoid. Here's a brief explanation. And what happens when I click on the template is that all of these things are now editable. So I need to move my screen a little bit. There we go. So if I click into the 3, I can change it to a 5. I might want to change the color to a Jaigo color. And here are all my Jaigo colors. It tells me what my current palette is, but it also tells me suggested colors. It gives me my Jaigo colors. So I might want to change it to our Jaigo teal. Bebas is not one of our fonts. So I might want to go in and grab our Boeing font or our graphic font. And I can do all of these things from the template. If I want to change this photo, this is the image. I've clicked on the image here, and I might just want to replace it. So I might say, what do I want? I want a photo of a nurse. So I'm going to look at photos of nurses here. What else could I do? I could decide I want to upload my own photo of a nurse. Maybe I want a nurse in Africa. Let's see if that gives me anything. There we go. So let's just take this Adobe stock photo for now. I could upload one of my own photos, but I'll just use one of their stock photos. So you click on it and it changes it right over. Now it's yellow and green and looks a little funky. Oh, and it just disappeared on me. I might have accidentally deleted it there. Yeah, there we go. That's a filter. There are plenty of photo filters and you can turn them on and off. And I am going to change the filter to a Jaigo color. So maybe I'll change it to our dark blue and our light blue. And maybe I'll say, global communications. Ooh, my O button is sticky. And again, I have as much of an ability as I want to, yeah, my O is very sticky, you can see. I have as much of an ability as I want to change the layout of this text, to drag it all over the page. I can change it to our Boeing font. I can mask it with a shape. So if I want it, let's say I want it in pink and white text, and I don't want it to have that pink as a rectangle. I want that pink as something else. So I just click on shape here. And it gives me all of these options. And maybe I want it as a banner. And so I give it a little banner look there. Or maybe I want to add a shadow or an outline. So I'll just go ahead and outline it in yellow right now. Now that might not look good. You'll have to play around with it and see what looks good to you, but you can drag it around. It looks like there's some transparency going on, and I'm not really sure where that came in, probably in the outline section. That's the size of the outline. Here's the transparency. I'll drag that all the way to 100. So lots of different options for text, but what if, what if I wanted to add an icon to it? Maybe I want an icon, a communications icon for this. Well, they have all of that built in. You go over to shapes. And what should I search for? Somebody call out, what should I search for on this? Should I search for communicators or nurses or dinosaurs or, I don't know, bananas? Give me an icon that I should search for. Something hard. something that you don't expect to find. Anybody?
Appraisal.
Say that again.
Appraisal.
Appraisal? Is that what you said? Did you say appraisal?
Yeah, hard to find.
All right. That's so we've got, it looks like about 40 options for that, 50 options, something like that. You know, I think this one kind of looks nice. So I might click on that and that'll drop it right in there. Kind of looks like a checklist, like a communications checklist almost. I like that. So we'll go in, we can edit the color of it. Let's make it purple. Let's make it white. Now, you know, I don't think it pops enough. So I'm just going to go back in and find a circle. Grab any sort of basic circle. I don't think I like that circle. Maybe I'll get sort of a more designy circle than that. I'm going to order it. This is the order of objects button, layer order. If you hover over it, you can see it'll tell you exactly what all these buttons do. That's duplicate, that's layer order. This is obviously delete. So I'm going to send it below the icon. Now it really doesn't pop. So maybe I'll make it our dark blue. I'll drag the icon, make it really big, kind of get it into this little circle here. Grab this. Now, obviously, I'm not making anything particularly special here. I'm just showing you the different features. Maybe we'll make it pink. Does it pop more in pink? Sure. So you can drag these separately. You can drag them together. You can search for any sort of icon you want. The icons are all free. It's a really good way to just grab an icon that you want or grab an icon series that you want. The one thing that I tell people about icons is you want to grab icons that look alike if you're using a lot of them. So let's say I'm searching for India right now. There are lots of different India icons. I can just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and I'll see a million different India icons. But what I might grab is this map of the country in the circle. And if I want to show lots of different countries, I want to be sure that I'm grabbing similar icons. So for Tanzania, I wouldn't want to grab one of these top few images because it's not the country in the circle, right? It would look a little odd. So I want to keep searching until I find, oh, here's Tanzania, but it's in a circle. So now I have a similar icon set and I can do different things with them. And that's what I'd encourage you. If you search for, you know, nurse, you don't want to grab one nurse that looks like this and one nurse that, and one midwife that looks like, oh, let's say this, because these are very different icons here. Does that make sense? You want to grab icons that have a very similar vibe. People will look at these icons and say, well, those are super different. So this is obviously a hideous graphic. We started from a template. We don't know what we're making, but it gives you a sense of everything that you can do. You can pull in photos that are your own. You can pull in photos that are from Adobe. You can pull in icons. You can pull in all different kinds of text. You can mask that text with any shape you want. So I am just going to go right back out to the home screen real quick and just show you real briefly. If you just want something like an icon, let's say you want a 600 pixel by 600 pixel icon, you'll get a blank screen. Let's search for, let's say we want a boss. So I'm going to search for that. And, you know, we'll grab a boss icon of some sort. And we'll take this. You can change it right to the color you want. You can pick any sort of custom color. You know, let's go with, I don't know, a bright blue. And then if you click on this download button up here in the right-hand corner, it gives you an option to download it as a PNG, which can be transparent, which is what you want to do, a JPEG, which will always have a white background, or a PDF, which in some cases you might want. So I'm going to click on PNG. And if I click on start download, it's going to tell me, do you want a solid color PNG, which means it has a white background to it? Or do you want a transparent PNG, which means it doesn't have a background? You'll only get this actual icon. And that's what you want to click typically, is the transparent PNG. So it's a really nice way to get an easily transparent little icon out of here. If I want to add multiple icons, I might export that one and then just, replace. And I want to add, I don't know what I want to add. I want to add a lake. And so you can just keep searching, replace as often as you want. You can keep them the same size. You can export them at will, all of that kind of stuff. If you want to redesign a graphic, let me just quickly dive into another template. I'll create from this template. There are all these buttons over here on the right-hand side. The design gives you variations of what you already have. So you might click on you might make an entire graphic, and then if you click in this design section, it'll just give you variations of, hey, you might not want this exact kind of design, so we're going to change the colors or the layout, or you might click on apply brand, and that'll brand it with all of your Jupygo colors immediately. And that gives you a sort of leg up on things. You might add a logo to it. Logos are on this side over here on the left-hand side, and you can load up all your different logos. You see I have Miles for Mothers from various years, Jupygo logos. These blank squares here are white Jupygo logos. That's why they're blank, but they'll come up when you click them. Your logos are vector, so they're as big as you ever need them to be. You can even add different brands. So right now I only have the Jupygo brand in here, but I could add a Tip Top brand or a Rise brand or a USAID brand. And again, if you start to brand things, it will do that automatically for you. It will give you all of your choices. So it's a really nice, simple, easy way to make custom graphics. Any questions on the graphics before I swap out and look at web pages? That's sort of the quick and dirty graphics, custom graphics builder. And there are lots and lots and lots of different things you can do, even just in the text. If you're in text, let me just grab one piece of text. You have shape options. You can curve your text. You can turn it into a really nicely spaced out, almost crossword puzzle kind of look. You can shape it so that it's all within kind of a square shape. You can obviously change color. You can change the line spacing or the letter spacing. You can mask it. It will give you recommendations on different fonts. And I should say, if you don't want Jupygo fonts, you have access to all of Adobe's different fonts. So you have about 10,000 fonts in here that you can choose from. So if you need something that's funky or futuristic or whatever you might need, it'll be in there. Any questions on custom graphics before I move on to web pages?
Yeah, hi, Cole.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
I have a question on
Yes.
whatever. Suppose if you're making a big, huge poster or a banner, so does it help in high resolution prints? I mean, can we directly give it to the printer for printing?
Yes, I'm not sure off. That's a really good question. I'm not sure off the top of my head how high you can go. Let's just look real quick. So if I create a custom size graphic, let's say I created in inches. So the range is up to 20 inches, which probably won't be quite as high as you need for a banner. You could make a banner that's width is 20 inches, but I suspect that you'll need something that's a bit more than that. So it probably does not go up to full banner size. If I go to pixels, I'm guessing 6,000 is probably the top. Let's see. Yeah, 6,000 is the highest that it will export. So you'd probably need to, either make it and then size it up in something like Photoshop, or for really large print products, you probably just don't want to make it in Adobe Express. It's a good question. If it were me, I'd probably make parts of the banner in Adobe Express. So you could make a 6,000 by 6,000 icon for the banner, but then drag those parts into something like Illustrator or some other program and size up from there. Good question. Any other questions before I keep going?
Cole, there are quite a few questions in the chat.
Oh, good, in the chat. Perfect.
Yeah, and what depending on how you want to take it, if you want to take the questions, or we could just save the chat and send the responses later. But I can see Rahmat's hand is up. and he might have a question.
Awesome, Ramat, hit me. What question do you have?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Cole
Yeah.
and Ronnie. I just have a question that, here I was searching for flyers, for so many templates, as you just said. There are,
Yep.
so many awesome templates that I just
Yep.
found it in Adobe Express. My question is that in case I want to take this, this template to the Adobe InDesign and design any flyer, any brochure, it might be very quickly and easy for me to take it to the Adobe InDesign. I don't know if there is any way to export it, and then is it editable to use it in other Adobe programs, or no? Like, I need to redesign it from the beginning.
That's a really good question. Right now, they do not export as editable projects to other Adobe programs unless they've already added that. I know it's on the wish list of things that people want to add. So I expect that they will add that capability soon, and you'll be able to export templates into other projects. They don't have that capability right now, but like I said to Celine, I think if I found a template and I really liked pieces of it, I would try to export one by one the assets in that template and then build them in Adobe InDesign. If I'm doing something large in print, if not, like if I'm just working on social media graphics or a flyer, I'll work fully in Adobe Express so that I can take advantage of that template. And Juliana can probably talk much more about how often we build social media graphics in Adobe Express entirely and never export, editable files into another program. If you look at our Mother's Day highlight on Instagram right now, all of that was built right in Adobe Express, right inside the template. So it depends on the project that you're trying to accomplish. But I would say if it's a small enough project, stay in Adobe Express. If it's too big of a print project, then export the assets. I do often use this as just a place to grab an asset, to grab a stock photo, to grab an icon, and then export that into PowerPoint or something like that.
And
really good question.
Cole, given the
Yeah.
fact that we have some new Twitter handles that launched, country
Yep.
Twitter handles, this seems to be like a perfect kind of
Yes.
way to help them really jazz up their Twitter handles.
Yep, absolutely. And one of the things that we'd like to do is to start to populate the Gecko Adobe Express account or accounts with templates that we've used in the past on social media, so that you can take an already branded template and start to work on it within Adobe Express for something like a Twitter post or something like that. So we will start to do that on our end. Again, it's a work in progress, but that's what we're hoping to do, is start to be able to share templates amongst each other. And when the India office builds a template, maybe the Tanzania office can use that too, and vice versa. And certainly when we build templates, we'll start to share those. Maybe one more question, and then I want to go on to web pages so that we have enough time.
I see Kenneth's hand is up. Kenneth,
Go for it.
Yeah, Inri, thank you. Yeah, I just saw the message from Lini about the subscription, I think, because I'm using free version.
Yep.
I also did one of the capacity building in Japan, Myanmar for Canva, but they are quite similar to the Canva, but
Yep.
I think this one is more transferring from one product to another Adobe product. I think this will be more flexible. And I tried the PDF version to download it and editable to InDesign, but it's not working. But I think this will be work fine for free subscriptions. So my only question is that let me try to take some sample, and then I will coming up to you, because I just got the subscription. So let me log in and try some sketch.
Yeah.
Thanks to Lini.
Great. So that's a really good point. There is a free version of this if you want to try out the free personal version. The paid version is $10 a month, and the paid version gives you a little bit more of an ability to share, to add your own brand, things like that. Gecko has a paid version, and if we need to get more paid instances so that everybody can use it sort of on the same days, within the same hours, we will do that. So we're really committed to making sure that everybody can access this program as they need to. As I said in the Global Communications Workshop, it's a bit of a work in progress to figure out how to get everybody access, but we will figure that out, and I'll share our paid account right after this coffee talk, so that everybody can dive into the paid version. So let me go on before I answer more questions. Oh yeah, sure. Just
the last one. I think Bolokang has his hand up for a while. So Bolokang, why don't you go ahead?
By all means. You might be on mute. There we go. Hi.
Thank you. Hello, Cole. I wanted to just to ask a quick question. I've been following you as you were demonstrating earlier on. And this brought my experience with Canva. And I know from Canva that if you had designed something and saved that on as PDF, you still have the ability to take it maybe to Adobe Photoshop or Illustrator. And from there, be able to further make adjustments or edit the document. But my experience with Adobe Cloud, it's Adobe Express. I haven't used this platform, so I was wondering if maybe we save it in PDF. The editing features, they wouldn't be there as well.
That's a really good question. I don't know. I don't often, I'll be honest with you, I don't often build something in here and then try to export it into another program. If I start with the intention to have this in a different program, I'd probably start within that program and just export assets from here. Typically, I start in here for things that I know I can finish right in here. So I will say, if you're trying to export to a different program and have an editable project, I'm not sure how well that will work. I don't think it works well right now. But if you're trying to start in here and finish in here, that's where I think this program really shines, is giving you sort of 0 to 100 on a social media graphic or a PowerPoint slide or something like that. If you're trying to do something that's really technically detailed, like an info sheet or a briefer or even a brochure, I probably wouldn't even start in here. I might try to pull icons out of here. I might try to pull a stock photo out of here, but I would not build the entire thing in this. The more detailed you get, the less well this program works. This is for really simple graphics in my mind. So really good question. And thank you for giving me that opportunity to just to note that. I want to be able to share stories and web pages, the functionality on that before we end. So let me dive into that. If you click the plus button again from the home page, one of the options that you see down here is web page. So I'm going to click on that. And depending on how well you've loaded your brand, you'll have your own branded themes. You'll see we have a light Jhpiego theme and a dark Jhpiego theme. And then on my account right now, we have an Align MNH theme. Align MNH has their own Adobe Express account now, but they didn't in the beginning. But let me choose the dark just to show people what it looks like. And within that theme, you can always edit and change different things about your theme. So this is what the theme looks like. And it'll tell you, this is what your heading 1s will look like. This is what your heading 2s will look like. Your buttons will be yellow. Your quote blocks will be yellow. But if I wanted my button instead to be, let's say pink, I can just change it over here to pink, but that looks terrible against the dark blue. Maybe I'll change it to, blue or back to yellow. But you can change anything. You can change the style of the button. You can change the shape of it. You can change the font for it. You can make it all caps. But what I will say is that once you decide on what your button color is, you can't go button by button or paragraph by paragraph or heading by heading and change every one of those individually. What you see for heading 1 is what will always be your heading 1 on this theme. And if you change your theme for one story, it will change your theme for all of the other stories. So when I changed the second theme to an Align MNH theme, it ended up changing a very random story that I had published before to an Align MNH theme story. So there are things that you want to watch out for as you're messing with your themes. What I would say is build your 3 themes and then don't change them. Just know that these are my 3 themes. I have a light, a medium, and a dark theme. But we'll go ahead and dive into this theme. So once you've set it up for how you want it to be, you'll have the option to add a great big photo. So I'll just search for, oh, I have a rating down here, there we go. So I'll search for a photo. It tells me, you know, hey, do you want to add a photo? I'm going to upload one of my own photos. Let me find a good one here. Here's a great one. I'm just pulling from my hard drive right now. So it'll upload my photo. I'll add, you know, let's say this is an International Day of the Girl story. So it adds a big title, a big subtitle, you know, Jhpigo's efforts in, I think this photo is from Malawi, I could be wrong. And then it'll say scroll to start writing your story. And this is what pops up. Can you see the bottom of my screen here, how I have all these different options? So I could add a single photo. I could add text. I could add a button, as we've seen. I could add a video, a photo grid, which is lots of different photos all automatically arranged into a grid, a glide show, which I'll show you in a second, or a split layout. So I'm going to add a split layout just for fun. And I get an image on one side and text on another, and I can decide which side I want each to be on. So why don't I put my image here, and I'll just quickly upload my own photo again. And again, I'm just scrolling through to have different photos. So I'll upload this photo. And as I do that, one thing that I'll want to make sure of is that I change the focal point of the photo to be where I want it. So I might want the focal point to be over here. And what you see over here is this really matters for the mobile view of it. So this is kind of your phone view. They call it portrait view, but it really is people looking at it on the phone. And I don't want the focal point to be all over here on the phone. I want the focal point to be what I want people to actually see about the photo. So I'll save that. And then let's add some text on this side. So if I add text, you know, again, I can have a header, and it can be an H1 or it can be an H2, but I'll make it an H1. And then I just want to keep adding text. So let's add more text. This is paragraph text. Here's some more paragraph text. You know, I want to add a list, maybe a numbered list. It gives me the option to do that. I can keep going with it. Maybe I want to add a photo here. So I'll just drop in an Adobe stock photo because it gives me that option right now. You can add captions. And then let's say I want to get out of the split layout at this point. So I just go below the split layout. And maybe I want to add in, let's look at a glide show. So a glide show, if I upload a bunch of my photos, and let me find a good spot for that, make sure that here's some Jhpigo 50th photos. So I'm going to open up 5 of these, and it will start to populate this. So I will save that. And what a glide show is these photos arranged in a nice sort of scrolling format, and it gives you the option of adding captions. So I could actually add a photo into the caption, or I could add text and say, you know, celebrating 50 years at Jhpigo. This is Jhpigo in Ukraine, is this photo. So we'll do that. I could add a heading and then say, you know, Jhpigo held a training in Ukraine in 2013, et cetera, et cetera. And that would be what a glide show is. So I could add a caption for each one of these photos. What does this look like? Is this Jhpigo in, I don't know, maybe Indonesia? So we can keep going. That's a photo glide show. And at the end of it, I can just keep adding text. You know, maybe I have another subheader here. Again, we'll change that. Maybe I'll, you know, I can change that to a header. I could change it to a quote. And you can have all different kinds of text. I could add a photo grid. And again, the way I would do that if I'm pulling photos is, let me find a few good photos here. Go with the same grouping. Open them up. All right, so I have 4 photos. So it's giving me a 4x4 photo grid. I can move the grid around to be in different things. I can replace the photo. I can make the photo a large photo. And that's how it would lay it out. And I don't really like that look. So maybe I'm going to delete, I'll delete this middle photo here. Delete. And then maybe I'll make one of these the large photo. I kind of like that look. So I'll save that. And now I have a photo grid. And if I wanted to, I could add a caption here to the photo grid. And then I just keep going with my story. So again, I'd add more text. Maybe I'd add a split layout again. But it gives you the ability to add as much or as little as you want. You know, maybe I want a great big bit of text here. So I'd add a header. And then let's say we're all done because it's 8:15 now. I can go to preview and look at exactly what it's going to look like when people pull it up. And it will load up for me. If it does, let's see. Yeah. So it'll show me exactly what it looks like. And you'll see there are some nice little parallax scrolling effects here. So it looks like the photos kind of coming out of the window, the photos and the text scroll separately. This is a nice scroll, and you can see the caption boxes that I didn't use are gone now. So I have one that I did use here, but then it doesn't have sort of a transparent blue background on here now because I didn't use that. Here's the photo grid. I can add more captions to it on each side. It has credits automatically added. So I used a stock photo and it credits that stock photo. It has my logo at the top and the bottom. It has links to all of our social media feeds. And if I like the look of that, all I have to do to publish it now, I don't have to call up Gecko and say, hey, will you put this on Gepago.org? I just click this share button. I click publish and share link. I give it a title. Oh, share, publish and share link. Let's see here. You cannot publish a project without a license to the Adobe. Oh, okay, so I used a stock image that has a license. So I'd need to actually buy that stock image, it looks like. And that probably, yeah, so link photos with this funny little crown on them mean that you have to buy them. Featured free is what I should have pulled from because there are thousands of featured free photos. So it will stop you if you don't have a license for what you're sharing. That's not true with icons. You'll have a license for all the icons you ever need. It's only true with some professional photos that are on there. But if I click share and publish now, it will give me a shareable link. And this is the link that it will live on forever as long as you have your Adobe account, whether it's a free account or a paid account. You'll always, as long as you keep that account and don't delete your entire account, you'll always have this link. And you can share this link in a MailChimp newsletter. You can share this link on social media. You can do whatever you want with it. If you wanted to, let me get back out to one of my webpage projects real quick. If you wanted to update your story, the link will not change. That's a really nice feature of it. You just click on update link after you've edited your story and the link stays the same. So let's say you make a whole story, you think it's great, it's an awesome story, and you put it out in your newsletter, and then your technical team comes to you and says, hey, we've changed the numbers and you really need to update this from 1 million to 25 million. And you say, oh, well, I can do that because I can edit my story. The link won't change, it's still there. So that's a really nice feature of web pages. So you can publish yourself, you can edit yourself, you can share yourself, all of those kind of things. So I'm just going to quickly go into my projects and show, let's see if I can click on this. So you'll see ours is right there, but I'll click on web page here. And I believe we published Indrani's story recently. Let's see. I published Indrani's story on a different account, but this is a different story. So I'll just go in here. This is a great little story that we published from Bangladesh. So it has a great photo, a great big title. We decided not to have a subtitle. We decided to start with a glide show. So it opens right into a nice big photo. It has lots of text about who this person is. That's just a one photo glide show. You don't need multiple photos. This is a header 2. Another great big photo, more of a glide show, more of a glide show, another header 2. So you'll see we're not even using paragraph text right now. We're just using header text because we think that looks nice. The paragraph text is all in the glide show. And this is all that we did for the story, was a great big glide show with header text. So you can see how simple it is once you start to build the blocks. You just need to have a vision for what do I want my story to look like. I can preview it, I could edit it, I can reshare it and update the link. But this is a really simple way for us to build a story. And what we did, and we will do this sometimes for different stories, we put that story right on jpygo.org. So if I go to jpygo.org/stories, it will come right up, hopefully, as long as my internet succeeds here. It should come right up. And what we did, I'll show you. If you click on share and publish link, there's an embed option, and it gives you the actual HTML code that you'd need to embed it into a website. Oops. And we embedded it right into the website. Let's see if I can find it here. Sunita's story. So we made a web page for it on our account. And if I call it up here, get your questions ready, because this is the last thing I have on web pages. So if I call it up, this is a jpygo web page, but it has our Adobe Express story embedded right in it. And when I click on read more, it gives me a full screen, immersive story you can engage with. And then the nice thing is, in the back end here of Adobe Express, if I look at my projects, and again, I'll sort by web pages, it will tell me exactly how many people have read that story or have looked at that story. So it looks like 184 people have read that story, and 8 of them gave us a little heart. And it tells me that for all of them. So for this Chad and Cameroon story, 1,200 people read it. For Gladys, our malaria director's sort of introductory story, 2,300 people read it, and so on and so forth. So you get a very small level of statistics from these. This is all the statistics you get for web pages, but it's nicer than nothing. And that, I think, is about all I have on the web pages front. Questions? Kanika, I see your hand is raised. Question from you.
Hey, hi, thanks, Cole.
Yeah.
So
That's
can
okay,
we
no
save the
worries.
story and publish later? My only point in asking this question is, will this link be searchable? I know it's not a press release, it's not like something which will be leaking out, right? But is there a possibility of people searching this before we share it?
That's a really good question. So there's a little slider, I believe it's, let's see, nope, that's the author slider. This slider, get noticed. Your project may be featured on Adobe Creative Cloud Express website. So if you don't have that, it will be searchable, but it'll be buried under 25 pages of Google results and nobody will ever find it. If you have this link highlighted, Adobe Creative Cloud may feature you on their website, and then it would be a little bit more searchable. What we found is that there's very, very, very little, basically no traffic to these. You have directly to this link. Google doesn't really highlight them. They're not particularly searchable. So it's a good question, but I have never once worried about publishing a draft, sharing it ahead of time, and then worrying that people will find it. Typically, people will not find it. But there's a very small chance that somebody would Google the exact right combination of words to find it. So if it's really, really sensitive, embargoed information, I wouldn't click the publish button until later. Yeah, good question. Linjin? You're on mute. Linjin, you're on mute.
Oh, my apologies.
No worries.
Thank you, Cole. Yeah, thank you, Cole. I was just saying, apart from the images that we are uploading, obviously we have the consent form and everything, but this sort of images that are already there, are they like, we can freely use them sans the fear of copyright?
Yes. So if I click, let me move this so that I can click it. So if I click replace here, you have a featured free category. So anything with this tiny little yellow crown, they'll make you pay for, which is a new thing actually. Okay. But if I search for, India midwife in here, let's see. and this is new to me, but let's just, for the sake of it, click on one of these, maybe this one, because it's a little bit more. And let's see if it lets me publish it. I'm genuinely not sure whether it will let me publish it or not. So if I click on share, publish and share link. Yeah, so it's telling me it has a licensed image, which is new, and I'm not quite sure why that is, but I think what you'll have is you'll be stuck with free images from the stock images. What I would encourage everybody to do for both social media graphics, for stories like these, Pico has a huge photo library, so I would try to use our photos. That gets you around licensing issues. But also on social media, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and places like that are very good at knowing stock images already. And if you use a stock image in a social media graphic, they typically will not, the algorithm will suck up all your organic reach. They won't show you to many people because they recognize that this is a stock image. This isn't original content. People have seen this image before. So we typically shy away from stock images for that reason. But I'm a little bit surprised, honestly, by this licensing requirement. I guess I haven't used stock images recently. Juliana, you might be able to fill me in more on it. But it sounds like they're trying to withhold more of their stock images now than they used to anyway. So
business model.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Thank you.
Other questions about web pages?
Cole, can
Yep.
I request everybody to put in their questions in the chat box, and we'll save
Perfect.
the chat box, and we can get to the questions later so that everybody
Awesome.
can feel free to put in their questions while I'm cognizant of the fact that we have very little time left,
3
and
minutes, yep.
so we could move ahead. But thanks
Great.
so much, Cole. This was something that everybody really wanted to, kind of learn. And I'm sure they're going to go through the recording again to be able to internalize this. But really appreciative of you taking the time to, guide us all on this. So we'll quickly move on. Thanks, Cole. In the interest of time, just give me a second. Yeah, so as you all know, we have 12 communication standards, and all the countries score themselves on these standards on an annual basis. So what we thought of is that we'll talk about one of these standards at every Coffee Talks. And today we'll be talking about country brochures, which is the 4th standard. It's a handy and comprehensive marketing tool that can benefit every country. And so it gives me great pleasure to invite our colleague from Philippines, Jeremiah Soto, who's the Monitoring and Evaluation Officer for the Philippines, but also a very able communications liaison for us. And he will be talking about the Philippines country brochure. Jeremiah, over to you.
Thank you, Indrani. I hope I'm being heard loud and clear. Great. So allow me to talk about our journey in coming up with our country brochure. So it has been, I think, a priority in mind that a country brochure is not just a tool for compliance. So it was thought after as the most economical and creative way to introduce our organization to other people, especially to new partners and potential funders, and also to the people that we work with. What we really like about our country brochure that it has good, vibrant colors that are very eye-catching. And despite of having these all creative designs and all the inputs that we have on the brochure, the cost of production is really relatively small. It also easily informs others of our goal and how we are making a difference in the country that we're in. It also keeps us guided, I guess, on what we want to convey, the words or the ideas that we want to communicate. And also maybe it can be an internal tool, like a reminder to us on as it verbalizes our reason for being here in our own countries. The country brochure simply tells us who we are, where we are, and what we can do in the most simplest manner. And when we talk to potential funders, new partners, and the people that we work with, the brochure also gives us a picture of the story that we are telling, since most of the people are visual rather than auditory. And having both hard and soft copies of this brochure, it is very easy for us to share and distribute. Our country program, country program manager, Dr. Ingrid Magnata, and our communication focals, we are sharing this brochure whenever there is an opportunity for us to tell about Chipago, to tell about the different projects that we have here in the country. And we also see to it that our new colleagues do have a copy of this brochure. So the process is fairly simple in coming up with the brochure. There is a template that is readily available in SharePoint for content per page and the ideal number of words that we need to write per section. Writing the content is fairly simple as well. We need to be succinct and on point. There are a few comments per section to guide us on the content of that particular section that we need to write on. It is also good if our country office has a good repository of photos that we can choose the best photo for the header. In our case, we wanted to feature an indigenous mother and her child to also clearly represent the Filipino culture. Though I myself, I am not a graphic designer. I'm not really good in graphic designing. Not as good as Cole for sure. And at that time of development, we didn't have a budget for a graphic designer. So I sought the help of Gecko, and they were very able to help out with the design. So on your screen, I just summarized three of the importance of having a country brochure. It introduces us in the most economical and creative way. It tells the story, of course. It easily informs others of our goal and how we are making a difference. And of course, this is one of the goal of having a country brochure is to build partnerships. And the country brochure tells us who we are, where we are, and what we can do in a simple manner. So those, I guess, are the very quick run through of how we got the brochure, or we developed the brochure. And it's as simple as that, and as simple as my presentation this evening. And while we are developing our country brochure, I just want to convey that we need to enjoy the process as well, because we get to know more about our country, our organization as well. Let us be creative, be succinct, and also be meaningful. As we say here in the Philippines, maraming salamat. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Jeremiah. That was the most fabulous way of introducing the brochure. And thank you so much for all the innovations that you put into that, and, creating a short film and, to introduce it. That's absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much. I know we are running out of time, but we are so thrilled to have our fearless leader, Melody McCoy, our Vice President for Communications, here attending this very first coffee talk session with us. So we cannot conclude without hearing from her. So it's my proud privilege to request Melody to say a few words to the global communications family that's come together today. Melody, over to you. You're on mute, Melody.
It's not really a conference meeting, a virtual meeting if someone isn't on mute. So I did my part. I want to begin by thanking Anne and Indrani, Cole and Leanne for putting together such a terrific first meeting, first coffee conversation for everyone. And secondly, I want to thank you all so much for coming. For caring enough about your craft to continue to learn and grow and stretch. That is what makes you an excellent professional. And so go out there and continue to share the good word of JPIGO and the work that we do globally and all the things that are important to you and your country. So thank you all very much for joining us this morning. And I look forward to seeing you in a monthly way. So I hope everyone has a good night, good evening, good morning, and look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And on behalf of Leanne, Anne, and Cole, I thank all of you. Bye.